everything is framed in terms of national security, and the thing that we're not talking about, we've talked about migrants, refugees, we haven't talked about the other figure here, the terrorist, right? So we're, since 9/11, the Immigration and Naturalization Service has been put into the Department of Homeland Security, right? So when the INS moves, as an immigration historian, I'm always interested when it goes from the Department of Labor to the Department of Justice in the 1940, that's enforcement. When it goes from the Department of Justice into Homeland Security, that means that immigration is lumped with securitization, right? And so that's how it's figured in political debates. But if we pan out a little, I think what we're seeing is a global process where capital and corporations are increasingly unimpeded by regulation. So free trade, NAFTA, Central American Free Trade Act, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, says to big companies, Nike, Exxon, Mobil, don't worry about local regulations, labor unions, environmental rights. You guys need to develop, and your money will trickle down. This economic theory discredited under Herbert Hoover, but whatever. But these people, if we give them freedom, they will develop wealth, and wealth will be good for all of us. The corresponding freedoms are not granted to us as individuals, and they are not granted to the people who are most impacted, the farmers of Mexico, indigenous people in this hemisphere. And I think, and Louise, this is where I think my theory is weak, but maybe can work a little bit. I think that this is part, what we see is continual U.S. engagements in wars over oil in the Middle East, continual destabilization of societies and regimes, and oil is part of the project here, right? So national securitization, discourses of nativism, more and more securitization in the name of anti-terror. And then globally, corporations get to move and do whatever they need to do. And we have less and less power to say, well, gee, even undocumented workers should have some basic rights at work. We're talking about the right that if a giant beam falls on you and crushes your leg, the company pays for your health. That is very difficult now, right? Because there are some basic skeletal rights, but what's happened, and I think you've been involved in these cases as well, that is when a worker tries to press them, the employer says, well, you're undocumented, so I might call the Homeland Security right now. So the rights of workers, environmental rights, I talked about Berta Cáceres as trying to preserve indigenous ways of life, but I didn't note that we all need water. And one of the things that's happening with what scholars call neoliberalization, this global process, is that resources that we think of as the commons, and that I think a faith tradition supports, that water, air, land, clean place for the kids to play, those are human rights. Those are being privatized, and people have less and less access to those very